Imagine being in the middle of the Antarctic Ocean at 2 in the morning. The sky is completely dark. Thick fog covers the water. And the only sound you can hear is the low hum of a ship slowly pushing through the freezing air. There are no massive waves, no storm. The ocean is far too calm. Until one of the crew members suddenly stops talking and stares out into the water. In the distance, there's something white. At first, they assume it's an iceberg. It's massive, motionless, almost blending into the fog around it. But the longer they stare at it, the more something starts to feel wrong. Because it isn't floating like normal ice. The shape is too smooth, too symmetrical. And when the ship's lights finally brush across its surface, the thing moves. Slowly, as if it just realized people were watching it. And in that silent moment, one of the crew members begins to notice something that instantly sends cold through his body. That massive white shape looks far too human. The internet knows it as Ningen, a mysterious creature believed to live deep within the Antarctic waters, first spreading through Japanese internet forums in the early 2000s. There's no official evidence proving it exists, no completely convincing footage. Most of the stories sound like anonymous. Rumors passed from one stranger to another online. But that's exactly what makes it unsettling. Because even though almost none of the evidence surrounding Ningen feels reliable, the story never disappears. Year after year, people continue talking about it, recreating its appearance, building new theories, even claiming they've seen something similar in the freezing Antarctic Sea. And the more people try to explain it logically, the more uncomfortable the legend becomes. Descriptions of Ningen are almost always the same. A gigantic body, sometimes said to stretch dozens of meters long, pale white skin, like something that has never seen sunlight. From a distance, it can resemble an albino whale, but the closer people claim to see it, the more unnatural its shape becomes. Some witnesses say it has arms. Others claim they saw a human-like head. Some even describe a face with almost no features at all, as if the entire surface were blank, except for two dark shapes that looked like eyes. But the most disturbing part of these stories isn't its appearance. It's the way it behaves. Because Ningen is almost never described attacking people. It doesn't chase ships. It doesn't hunt. It doesn't scream like some monster from a horror movie. Most of the time, it simply stays there, floating silently in the black ocean like something that was never supposed to exist. And somehow, that makes it far more terrifying. One of the most famous Ningen stories comes from a Japanese research vessel traveling through Antarctic waters late at night. The story first appeared online without any confirmed source, but over the years, the details kept resurfacing until it became one of the central legends surrounding the creature. According to the story, the crew initially spotted a massive white object in the distance. They assumed it was either a foreign submarine or drifting ice. But as the ship moved closer, they realized the object didn't look normal. No sharp edges, no metallic reflection, no engine noise. One of the crew members lifted binoculars to get a better look. A few seconds later, he slowly lowered them again, his face completely pale, because according to him, the object had a head shaped almost like a human's. Then, without making a sound, the creature slowly sank beneath the water. No violent splash, no panic. The ocean simply became calm again, as if something had quietly returned to where it came from. And according to some versions of the story, one crew member refused to leave his cabin for the rest of the night. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over again. It was looking at us. After that, the internet became flooded with images and footage supposedly connected to Ningen. White silhouettes drifting in the ocean, massive humanoid shapes barely visible beneath the water. Some people even claimed they found strange figures on satellite images near Antarctica that resembled enormous pale creatures moving under the sea. Most of it can be explained, of course. Many of the images turned out to be ice formations, whales, digital edits, or camera distortions. But the real problem isn't whether every piece of evidence is fake or not. The real problem is, some of those images feel strange, enough to make people stop scrolling and stare for a little too long. Because the human mind has a habit of filling unclear shapes with its own fears. And the ocean is the perfect place for that. The deep sea has always had a strange psychological effect on people. We can see the surface, but we never truly know what exists underneath it. The deeper the ocean gets, the darker it becomes, until it feels less like water and more like an endless void. And Antarctica somehow makes everything worse. The place feels silent, empty, isolated from the rest of the world. Even modern scientists admit that most of Earth's oceans remain unexplored, which means technically, humanity still doesn't fully know what lives beneath the surface. That's why legends like Ningen work so well, because deep inside the human mind, there's always a quiet fear that maybe there's something in the ocean we were never meant to discover, something that should never rise to the surface. Some theories try to explain Ningen logically. Some people believe every sighting was simply an albino whale, distorted by fog and rough waves. Others think the legend was entirely born from the internet, growing from anonymous Japanese forums into a worldwide creepypasta phenomenon. But like most internet mysteries, logical explanations never really stop the story. Instead, the legend only grows stranger. Some people believe Ningen was part of a secret biological experiment hidden from the public. Others claim it comes from the deepest parts of the Antarctic Ocean, places humans have never explored. And then there's a far more disturbing theory that Ningen isn't an animal at all, but something far closer to human, or maybe something that used to be human. But maybe the most unsettling part of the Ningen legend isn't the theories, or even its appearance. It's the way people describe the feeling of seeing it. Almost every story follows the same pattern. The ocean suddenly becomes unnaturally quiet. The wind seems to disappear. And the people who witness it often describe a fear they can't fully explain, as if their body understood something was wrong before their mind could process it. Not fear of being attacked, but fear of realizing humanity may not be alone in those waters. And even worse, something beneath the surface may have been watching us far longer than we realize. Maybe Ningen isn't real. Maybe the entire story is just an internet urban legend that became too effective to forget. But there's a reason stories like this survive for years. Because humans have always feared things they cannot clearly see. And there may be no place on Earth more mysterious than the dark oceans we still haven't fully explored. So now imagine one thing. If one night you were alone in the middle of the ocean and saw a gigantic pale figure slowly rising from beneath the water without making a single sound, would you move closer just to prove it was real? Or would you spend the rest of your life wishing you had never seen it at all? Let me know your theories about Ningen in the comments. And if you believe there's still something hidden deep beneath Earth's oceans, tell me why.